Perfect. So I'm going to get started because, like I said, so like Linda said, I'm Riva Lasansky. There's just the spelling of my name in case you need to see it. I'm on Twitter at Riva. I'm on Post at Riva L because they don't take 5-letter words. And if you need to email me, you can see it there at riva@smallbusinesscurrents.com. I have a lot to talk about. There's a whole bonus section behind that we're not even going to get to, but I'm going to send the slide deck to Linda and she's going to send it to you if you want. So you'll be able to look at that at any point. And also I load my slide deck with lots of information. So you can look at it 3 months from now and you won't try to think like, oh, that's a funny picture, but what did she say? So here we go. What's ahead? We're a couple days into 2023. I want to know what Kim says, but here's what I found. So we're going to start with hot demographics, right? So demographics matter to businesses because not everybody wants the same thing. One thing that we're seeing, particularly in the younger generations, millennials and Gen Z, and when we're talking about that, we're talking about millions and millions. Millennials were the biggest generation ever in America, 80 plus million strong. I think Gen Z was almost that big. So you're talking about millions and millions of Americans. Millennials are now in their early 40s. So I don't want people to think, oh, they're just, all young people without responsibilities. Everybody here has a lot of money to spend. And they're spending it, but they're very activist. Consumers today are activist consumers. They're looking to do business with companies that have a purpose, have a mission, and that they share that mission with. And 50% of millennials and Gen Zers are currently boycotting at least one company that they don't feel shares their values. And that's not true. I'm a boomer and I'm boycotting like 5. So I think it goes across generations. So what do the generations want? Well, boomers were the first generation, my generation, to see a lot of women in the workforce. So we're kind of a little bit more practical. We want solutions. And we're getting older. So we don't have any patience either to wait. Like, let's say we want to find out, how do we solve this problem now? Gen Xers, they used to be called the baby busters because they came after the boomers. I think they're probably the most ignored generation because they're the smallest, right? Boomers, millennials, and Gen Z are all bigger than Gen X. They want value-based selling, like give them something for their money. Millennials want to be marketed to, they're more casual, but they are impatient, and they prefer digital marketing and buying. And Gen Z, who are just native digital natives, social media is really kind of natural to them. That's where they get a lot of product references, a lot of things to buy, a lot of ideas. Teens. So again, people think, well, why do I care about teens? Well, teens have a lot of money to spend, like of their own. Not that even money is spent on them, but on their own, they have about $2,500 a year in disposable income. And Piper Sandler, which is a investment bank, does a teen survey twice a year. Their fall one just came out in October. Teen spending is up. In the fall, teen girls were spending the most money, up 10%. They're buying clothes and footwear. And secondhand, which we're going to get to, which I think is actually in the back, in the bonus section, but secondhand retail is really hot right now in all categories: clothing, furniture, partly environmental concerns, partly money concerns. And the whole movement of resale retail was started by teenagers. So, in particular, if you target the teen market, makeup is making a big comeback there. I mean, mostly they shop at Ulta and Sephora, but you can see that they're into spending money on that. I think I've always thought, also get to that a little later, the beauty industry is very open to entrepreneurs. It's really full of really big entrepreneurial success stories. Total market share of video games, it was down slightly from the year before, and teen boys spent most of their money on food. Teens have been spending a lot of money on food probably for the last 5 years. It's either been number 1 or number 2 in their wallet spend. So if you own a restaurant, that's good to know. Just don't roll your eyes like, oh, here comes some teenagers. They're actually spending a lot of money on food, and the social media of their choice is TikTok. You can see there all the social medias that they use, but TikTok is number one. Babies. I like to talk about so again, baby boomers, my generation. That's not just a cute name. Baby boomers were born between 1946 and 1964, and there's actually an official definition of a boom year. It's a year that 4 million or more Americans are born. So we're not in a baby boom. In 2021, 3.6 million kids were born. I mean, it's not that far off. But there's fewer kids being born, partly because women are getting married later and having babies later. And you can see that births were up. That last year, the 2021, when the birth rate ticked up, that was the first tick up in a bit. I think we hit peak in 2007. Women are waiting to get married. They're starting a family later. So that's partly why the birth rate has decreased. Teen births are down. The big news in that is women who are getting married later have careers, so they have money to spend on their kids. Wall Street Journal says it costs $310,000 to raise a kid today, but parents are always buying stuff, right? There's books and furniture and toys. And so it's a great market to target. So we're going to get right into some hot businesses and industries that are particularly hot this year. And Linda told me, this is a first category for me, that a lot of you are in the professional services business. So I did some research to find out what's particularly hot there. And these trends are from Beaton, which is actually an Australian company, but the trends seem to mimic what's going on in America too. So everything that you see hyperlinked is hyperlinked. If you have a problem with that, when Linda sends you the deck, just email me and I will get you that info. So we're all struggling to keep and find skilled employees, apparently in Australia too. So the key that they're saying that works is provide employees. We always talk about customer experience. Well, it's about employee experience. You want to give them an employee experience. And right now, even though a lot of places are back to work and not working remotely, a lot of employees want remote options, at least for part of the week. So that should be, if you don't, I mean, certain businesses cannot offer that, retail, restaurants, but if you can, that's a big perk for a lot of American workers. Client experience, customer experience is really important for professional service businesses. It's the thing that's going to differentiate you. It's why people want to do business with you. And some research has shown that companies that invest in improving the customer and client experience are more successful. So it's about standing out from your competitors. And to me, the thing that's really important in business, no matter what kind of business you have, is to understand what your competitors are doing. You need to keep track as well as you can. On social media, makes it a lot easier to understand what are your competitors doing, how can you outdo them, how can you maybe adapt something they're doing, only do it better or differently, and that's a differentiator. Social responsibility. So this goes back to what I said before about consumers are activist consumers. They're looking for companies that are socially responsible, and they actually won't even do they're researching that before they'll even do business with a lot of companies. So it's really important to make sure you have a mission, to make sure your employees understand and live that mission, but also to make sure your customers and clients know what your mission is, so they feel comfortable, like, oh, that's kind of a kindred business and I want to do business with them. Pricing. It's really important now. Inflation has made pricing even more of a concern. We kind of see inflation coming down. But Beaton says benchmark your pricing, which again means what are your competitors doing? What is the average for your industry? What is the average for businesses in your area? And what are your competitors charging and doing? Because you don't want to be the most expensive unless you are so unique, but you don't want to be the cheapest either. It's not a time to undercut what you do. You want to charge what you're worth, but you want to be in the mainstream. And customers and clients, the people pay more when they're treated well, when they get excellent customer service. Client retention is a really big issue too. And again, that comes back to customer experience. You want to check up on your clients. You want to follow up with them. I think Linda does an amazing job, just from what I see, of doing that. And I think that's a really good sort of benchmark to follow, is to offer personalized service. Like she said, like, well, here, I'll give you a half an hour. Let's do one-on-one time. Whatever you can do, adapting to your business, making sure your customer feels like they matter to you and they're not just one of many that you just don't care about, really goes a long way to keeping them. So we're going to move on from professional services to some general business trends. So one of the things that I found, and we just did this, there was a big article we just published on Small Business Currents. So these are just a few of the points from that article, but that's a hot link, and you can go to it Brett explained it a lot more in depth and has a lot more than I'm showing you here. Chatbots are becoming something that more and more customers are not only familiar with, but they look forward to. I don't know about you, but I would much rather start with a chatbot than wait on, you're the 18th caller in line. I don't have time for that. I want to get in, get what I need to know, and get out. And sometimes the chatbot can solve your problem. And sometimes it can just put you in a faster queue to talk to an actual person. But I think it's really important that, and more customers, businesses are adopting them. User-generated content. This used to be only for certain types of businesses, but I think every business, because basically you have to have some kind of website and you have to have content on your website. And it's really hard because you really have a different job to do. Your job is not like mine. Your job is not to create content. So it's often, a big help to turn to your users to have them generate content for you. So, maybe user reviews, ask for guest posts, sort of get your users involved. So one, you save money on budget, and two, you're not taking time away from your business doing this yourself. And some businesses have started to develop some kind of reward program for content that's shared to sort of incentivize their customers to share more. Authenticity, this came a lot with the younger millennials and Gen Z. They expect you to be what you say you are. It's about being authentic. It's about being genuine. It's about being who you say you are, about offering what you say you will. Like, you don't want to make promises you can't keep. And they look for companies and businesses that are like that. And today they kind of want to know what your story is. They feel more that it connects you as a more personalized experience, person to person, if they know a little bit about your journey. And depending on the kind of business you have, telling your journey makes them, oh, that's just like me. And it kind of cements a bond between you and your customer. And again, it's about personalization is a big part of, I don't talk about it here, but like with email marketing, it's all about personalization today. It's about making customers feel valued as a person rather than just a customer. AR and VR, this is augmented reality, virtual reality. This, because of the pandemic, this is when it started. So it's about sort of things like we're doing today. We're doing a webinar online. It's about virtual conferences rather than holding them in person. They're more cost effective. More people can attend. You're not asking people to take time, if they have to travel there out of their work days or their life to do that. and the rise of the software as a service subscription model. And we're seeing more and more of this where it's not even SaaS subscription models. More and more businesses are creating subscriptions. So it's more of a recurring revenue, right? They know what they're doing. And the subscription isn't necessarily that high priced. I mean, again, that totally depends on the business that you have and what you're offering, but it's just having people sign up and getting that regular money. It's easier to budget that way. So it's easier for businesses to deliver that way. And users really like it because they don't have to go searching for whatever it is that you offer every month. They know that it's there, whether it's a blog or some kind of other service or, CRM. There's just a lot of different subscription models out there today. And I would urge you to look, if you don't have it, to look at how you can adapt at least some part of your business to a subscription model. So we're going to move into retail, right? Because retail is just, we're a consumer-based society, right? That's where our money, people kept predicting we're in a recession. And yet every time the numbers came out from the National Retail Federation, we saw consumers were spending money. Yes, there was inflation, but it really wasn't impacting shopping. And one way we can tell is looking at the numbers from the holiday. That's the most recent numbers we have. The National Retail Federation issues a forecast every February they tell you what happened last year in terms of total retail sales and what they expect this year. We don't have that yet because it's not February. So the most recent numbers we have were Thanksgiving shopping numbers, just to highlight that. So their Thanksgiving season starts October 1st and goes through December 31st. And so this forecast was given early December. So it didn't even count the whole end of the year. But if you look at just Thanksgiving weekend, that includes Thanksgiving Day, Thursday through Monday, through Cyber Monday. So the whole 5-day weekend. Through that weekend, 197 million Americans shopped. This was 17 million more than in 2021. And that they give a forecast, and that's just shattered their initial expectations by over 30 million people. So even more people even shopped than they thought people were going to shop. And one of the things that was really interesting this year, and they think it's because people have been pent up for, the prior two holiday seasons, not being able to shop in person, in store because of the pandemic. Way more people did that than they expected in-store shopping. It was up 13% over 2021. So normally this is when online shopping soars, and it's not that it didn't grow, it just grew slower. It was up 2% because people who previously had been shopping online said, I can go to a store. The really good news for small businesses, Small Business Saturday was the second highest shopping day of the weekend, which is real up over Black Friday, and second biggest of Black Friday. And 77% of the people shopping that day specifically said they were shopping to support small business. And we see that throughout the country, that people are they saw what the pandemic could do to local businesses, and were really, really invested in helping small businesses in their community purposefully. And also because of the economy, customers they're just looking for deals, right? It's not necessarily the lowest price, it's the best value. And there's a difference in there. People will pay if they think they're getting a good value for their money, or if you're incentivizing them. Matthew Shea, who's the CEO of the NRF, says all this growth is despite the inflation. And retailers have caught on to that. They're offering hey, it's about convenience. It's about offering promotions. In-store and online have to be seamless. It has to be one, they call it omni-channel shopping experience. And so make sure, again, figure out what your customers are doing in terms of promotions. And you don't want them to be offering deals and you not to be. That's how people are shopping today. So to show you about the in-store retail resurgence, 75 million square feet of new retail space was expected to open last year. It's too early to know if we hit that or not. So we're going to talk about e-commerce for a little bit. So e-commerce sales. So e-commerce is electronic commerce. Are sales conducted over computers, phones, tablets, just not in store. You can see the growth chart there. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the charts because you can see for yourself, the peak. You can see where it really grew a lot in 2020 when the pandemic when we were first locked down. But you can see where it's headed 2025. So it's going to continue to grow. Online shopping, eMarketer, which I feel is an extraordinarily valuable resource. They have a subscription service. It's pretty pricey, but if you sign up for their daily emails, you get a ton of information for free every day. It's just really, really helpful. And you can see people shopping online. It's at least once a month or less. You can see that people are 2-3 times a month. When you add it all together, people are just shopping online. And a lot of that is convenience, right? It's busy moms with little kids who don't have time to go to the store. So mobile commerce, this chart just came out from eMarketer. Mobile commerce is retail commerce conducted over a phone or a tablet. It's not a laptop. It's not a computer. And it's an increasing number of m-commerce sales. It's being driven. You can see they say a lot of retail sales are coming from m-commerce. Part of that is phones are bigger. They're easier to navigate. Businesses have figured out, people are shopping from their phone. We're going to make it easier for them to do that. And it's not just about convenience. It's because a lot of phones they're more utilitarian than a computer. It's just they have features that just make it easier to shop. So for that, you want to make sure that your online experience on a phone is easy to navigate, easy to load. If things don't load quickly, people just go away. They don't care. They don't wait. They just go find somebody else who is loading quicker. Social commerce. So this is kind of in the last few years that this has erupted. This is selling directly on a social platform. It's not a social platform driving a customer to your store or driving a customer to your website. It's conducting commerce right on that platform. If you use Instagram, right, in the last 2 years, that's like inundated. I think it's more of a shopping platform now than whatever it was intended to be, a photo sharing platform. But sales are growing. Global commerce sales, you can see, are going to be 1.2 trillion in just 2 years from now, up from 500 billion, which sounds like not a small number, but that's a huge growth in just 4 years. And so again, driven a lot by younger people, but older people. I've bought plenty of things on social platforms. Again, Facebook and Instagram are the two leading ones. You can see what sells the most: clothing, electronics, and home decor. But trust, right? I've been burned a few times. What I thought I was buying from a small business, and it turned out it was maybe a big business in China. And sizing, and my husband's kind of a big guy, 6'4", and extra large, and things come in really tiny. So it's always a surprise. So trust is an issue. So you want to make sure if you're selling on social commerce that you let people know that you're a local or you're an American business, and you let them know that sizes and things like that are going to fit what they think that they should. You can see the top social channels: Instagram. This slide was from last year. I will tell you, TikTok has just climbed up the social commerce channel. As you can see here, it's just, and there's a big question right now with social media in the US. There are two big question marks. One is on Twitter, because we have no idea what's going on there. If you're a Twitter user, you've seen a lot of changes Sunday night during the or Monday night during the Monday Night Football, when that player had unfortunately had a heart attack on the field. I was on Twitter anyway, and it kept saying Twitter's overloaded, and I haven't gotten that message in, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years. So there's a lot of glitches there. And TikTok, there's a lot of controversy about TikTok. It's a Chinese company. It has a US, component that says it's operating, but there have been things that they found. The government has banned all government employees from putting TikTok on their phones. So that's just a caution, but it sells stuff. It just sells stuff. Beauty, books, authors go to TikTok, recipes. So, like if you're anything to do with cooking, restaurants, catering, selling that kind of stuff, it just works. So take advantage of it, but understand what's going on when you go there. So what do consumers want? So part of the thing is, and this is not new, consumers want convenience, right? They just want, make it easy for me to shop with you, make it easy for me to do business with you. Click and collect is the broader name for something that's you can see the growth there. Again, peak during the pandemic lockdown when we couldn't go to stores. So click and collect is things like curbside pickup. You can see the usage by generation. So look, younger generations are really there. They take advantage of that. And you may think, well, that's weird. Why? And part of it is, with younger millennials and older Gen Zers, they're young parents with kids. So if they can pull up and get their stuff put in their car rather than get out of the car, unload the kid, put the kids in a shopping cart, and do that whole thing, it's a lot easier. BOPIS, which is buy online, pick up in store, is booming. Slowed down a little again compared to the lockdown years, but again, and this is about making sure you have software on your website that lets people know what you have in stock, because if they're going to buy online and go in the store to pick it up, you better make sure that it's there. So there's a lot of advantages to BOPIS for business owners. You've basically created a new channel without really spending much money other than investing in the software. So it's cheaper than delivery, than mail order, right? Because you're not spending anything other than the software that you need to show real-time inventory. And you're not dependent on a third-party provider. You're not dependent on a delivery service. You're just, customers are going in the store, just going to the counter and saying, hey, I'm Riva, I ordered, and they hand you a bag. I did it with CVS the other day, and I went into the store yesterday. There was a really long line, and the guy just said, are you paying cash? Whatever. He was asking people. I said, I'm here to pick up a package. He went behind the counter, gave me my package, and I was out the door in just minutes. And consumers really like it because they're not paying for shipping. They're not waiting for anything. It's all in their control. They're just getting in the car and going to there. Buy now, pay later is a really growing service, particularly used by Gen Z, because they're younger, they're not necessarily making a ton of money. So they want something. There are third-party services that do that. As if you were a retailer or whatever, you would join up with one of these services. So, you pay in like 4 parts. You get the thing there. It's not layaway. It's not like you're giving a little dollars every month, and at the end of the time you get your product. It's somehow connected through credit cards and through these services, but it's really, really popular. And Gen Z a lot of them would rather use buy now, pay later than a credit card. Coupons and millennials, they like them. They really like them. And again, it's because people are looking for a value. They prefer email coupons. I thought that was really interesting, but that's how they prefer to get a coupon. I like that too. So I don't think it's just millennials. Mobile was second, and they prefer percent off rather than dollars off. So just, you can experiment. And that's, for me, it's always about testing. Always do something and always have a test going on to see if that's still the most popular thing to get your customers to buy. Digital wallets and QR codes are really becoming more popular because more people have phones, more people are comfortable using them, and you can see the usage is increasing. Free shipping, if you are selling products online and you want people to do business with you, free shipping is really the key. You're not Amazon, you can't free ship everything. So set a price that is maybe slightly above the average order price for what you sell, and make sure you have some, like, I call them, kind of like stocking stuffers. People will buy things they don't really need, add to their cart to get to that minimum free shipping level. They would prefer to do that than to spend money on shipping, even if adding to the cart comes out more than the shipping costs, because they feel like they're at least getting something for that money rather than paying the postal service. So we're going to look at some industries in depth. Toys, because remember what I said about babies, there are more babies being born. So toy sales, NPD is a big consumer research group, and they have tons of research about tons of different categories. Again, it costs like thousands of dollars to get an NPD report, but if you just sign up for their newsletters, there's a lot of information you get for free. I follow them on Twitter, and they're always announcing some new information there, and that's free, right? So you can see toy sales were up. There's still a good bet in that industry. You can see what toy sales, which ones are pushing the needle more: outdoor and sports, infant and toddler. The most popular toys are, Pokemon, Star Wars, Barbie, Squishmallow. I'd never heard of a Squishmallow until last year when I started doing this report. That is my great nephew. I bought his sister that Squishmallow for Hanukkah, and fight broke out. She's almost 3, between her and him, because he needed to hug it and squish it just as much as she did. That my niece had to go out and buy him his own, because they were literally like doing like a tug of war over who gets the Squishmallow. They're really, really popular. These categories, these 10 toys up there, grew 22%. So over the industry average. Kidults, or kidults, I don't know how you really say it. I've never heard it said out loud. So these are kids or adults who are like kids. They're 12 and over. Again, this info is from NPD. There was a lot of, it was a big story on CNBC that I linked to there that was really interesting. They spend more money on toys. They're really into toys that remind them of their childhood. And it's not like, oh, I'm into it and I'm buying it for my kid. They're into it and buying it for themselves, right? It's about cartoons and superheroes and collectibles. We talked a little more in depth about it in our newsletter that went out yesterday. But like, there are Legos are now in designing stuff for adults. There's like an Eiffel Tower that costs $300. And the funny thing is, that picture I just showed you of my great nephew, I showed it to my friend's 20-year-old daughter, who is a junior at Notre Dame. And she said, I want one. And I said, you want one? And she said, all the girls in my dorm have them. So that, so you see, here's a toy that you think kids are buying, but really it's going into the teen and young adult market. Beauty is just a hot category. Americans spend a lot of money on beauty products. 2021 is the last year we have totals for, but it's over 60 billion. It's supposed to reach 73 by 2025. Makeup is hot again. During the pandemic, it really wasn't, but last May, I believe, it exceeded pre-pandemic levels. It's a really, like I said, it's a great break-in industry for entrepreneurs. TikTok just moves beauty products like crazy. Color is according to NPD a big thing that's coming in. There's huge opportunity in the market for beauty and skincare products aimed at Black Americans. There was a huge report here from McKinsey. If you are interested in this market, you should click on that link, because I have some stuff here and there's some stuff in the bonus section, but McKinsey's report, which is free, was so thorough about the opportunity in this market. $2.6 billion opportunity market. Black women don't feel like their needs are being met. Not just in the availability of products, because there's many more Black-owned beauty products out there, but in selling them. I think there's a big opportunity in selling them, because they feel like they're not represented when they walk into a Sephora or an Ulta. Again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I put this in here in case you're interested in this market. It's just a ripe market with tons of opportunity. And a lot of the national retailers, there's a 15% pledge that says retailers will dedicate at least 15% of their shelf space to products from Black-owned businesses. Ulta has taken that pledge. Target has a program to sort of nurture Black entrepreneurs in this business and get their products on the shelves. You can see that there. And that last thing, profile from Essence, was really full of inspiring stories. And then Lisa Price started Carol's Daughter, one of the most successful Black-owned beauty brands. Another really popular thing in beauty is clean. Clean beauty is really hot right now. And it's free of a lot of garbage, a lot of the chemicals that are in it. Sephora has its own category for it. There's a lot of opportunity there for new entrants. Beauty services is really doing well as well. Hair, skin, makeup, tanning, waxing nails. If you are in the beauty services business, add a retail component. It's really, again, you want to open up as many channels of sales as you can. This is from McKinsey. That just gives you a really quick overview of what's going on in the beauty industry. Again, I really, if you're interested, urge you to click on that. For retail, again, plus size clothing, inclusive sizing. The average woman wears a 16 to 18, and they getting better, but it's still not perfect. And sometimes clothes are segregated, and inclusive sizing is just not segregated, right? It's just everything's on the market. You can see sales were $34 billion in 2021, which was up 21% from 2020, and we're expected to grow about 8% last year. Just another really good opportunity market. Inclusive sizing, not just women, men as well. Like I said, my husband is 6'4". Sometimes it's really hard to find pants that, don't come out as like anklets for him. Barbie core, this is like my favorite thing. So hot pink Barbie. Why? Because there's a movie coming out in July of 2023. And it is just expected, because look at Ryan Gosling and how silly he looks, but he's embracing that. And so there's a lot of noise around this, and it has gone into the home. Pantone, who are the color people, have said it's in home products, it's in fashion. You could see there were a lot of searches for it. It's in beauty. It's like affected everything. Hot pink Barbie businesses, they call it Barbie core. You can see it, just Google it, and you can see how it's affected a lot of businesses. And this is expected to be even bigger in July when the movie comes out. Pantone has said these are Pantone spring fashion colors. And you can see they're calling it beetroot purple, because they like to come up with names, clever names, but that's the Barbie core pink. Home. Who's buying homes? If you're a real estate agent or an interior designer, it's women. Women are buying a lot of homes today. I don't mean women and men. I mean women alone, independent home buying. Right now we're in a housing recession, but they expect it to be pretty short-lived. One of the big trends is this is from Pottery Barn. They've launched an an accessible home design collection, because a lot of older people, in the old days, people like, oh, 65, I'm going to move to Florida or Arizona. People are staying in their homes. They're retrofitting their homes. That's really important for remodelers, or if you're in the construction business, that people are looking to remodel their home to make it more accessible so people can live there. So it's clothing as well as furniture and remodeling opportunities. Furniture is selling well. There's a lot of opportunity in that field as well. Right. You have to follow the trends there. I think that's really important. Color is in this year. This is where I get a lot of my trend information. These resources, again, a lot of them cost a lot of money to sign up, but I just sign up for their daily newsletter and I get stuff for free. And so, I do subscribe to Nation's Restaurant News to keep up on the trends there, but it doesn't cost a lot of money. But the big Mintel, NPD group, Statista, you just sign up and you get that. That's the presentation. You can reach me there. I am going to send the deck to Linda, but I just want to show you really quickly before we go to questions. There's a ton of information back here, more on retail, more on BOPIS, on retail on the candy industry, more on beauty, and other stuff. So I just wanted to give you all the information I had that I knew we didn't have time for, more consumer shopping trends and stuff. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and thank you very much. And I'm ready to take your questions.